Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'm Nia,
And this is Paul
and this is Rum
from
News.
News. Hey.
So, as you can see, I have a very special co-host tonight because Nani's a slacker and she didn't make it tonight. So I had to, reach out to the Rum crew, the Rum posse, Paul from Drums and Rums. Welcome, Paul. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on. I know we talk a lot about doing collabs together, so it's really cool that actually you've invited me to fill in as co-host. I know hope you're not going to get the same amount of viewers, unfortunately, as you guys normally do. I don't look like Nani. I don't. So apologies in advance. I don't look as good as she does. So, but we'll make it through. You know what? If everybody tonight tunes in and drinks enough rum, I'll eventually look hot. Okay?
Yes, just drink some more. Just drink some more. And to honor tradition, even though Marianne is not here physically, but she is in the chat.
Yep.
Hi, Nani. Ahoy, Sean.
Hey
We're going to
guys.
take a shot to honor new traditions. Cheers, everybody. What's everybody drinking? What shots are you taking? Ooh, this is really good. Cheers. Cheers, Paul.
Here's ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
So what did you go with?
um, so I went with a sample of Sailbird Distillery. It's called the Lighthouse Silver Rum. It is 80 proof, so I can warm up the chesticles.
All right. Well, I don't know if my I don't know if I quite the same places to warm up, but I went ahead with I definitely want to give a shout out to these guys. Hooking. I think you also got some of this
Hell
too. Well,
yeah, the rum
remind
rats.
me. So the rum rats there. So the guys, those guys are awesome. Definitely great fun. Instagram page are always up to stuff. Something going on there. Definitely a lot of into the outdoor lifestyle. A lot of surfing for Canadians, right? Yeah. So this is their Arco Seco there. It's 86 proof, so definitely got very clean there. So cheers again.
Yeah, that's a great, great rum. I did sample that. They were so kind, and we actually met them at the Miami Rum Congress, at the
Hmm.
Miami Rum Renaissance seminars. Really nice guys. They actually sourced their juice from Don Pancho, which is a pretty famous and well-known distillery in Panama. And fun guys, huh?
Yeah, I know they were coming out with some new stuff too. So maybe we'll soon be talking about them, or you guys will be talking about them in new releases here. So maybe never know.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get some samples. That'd be super nice. But do you want to start with the news that you have, Paul?
Yeah, sure, sure. So first up here, again, I'm already enjoying some things, and I think it's definitely apropos to start up this first rum news here. And this was the article that we found, wanted to talk about it, and it only makes sense that to talk about this particular article from the website punchdrink.com is the best rum for mojitos. So I'm gonna go through this list here and we're gonna go ahead. I'm also gonna make a drink. So I know Nia's not here with me, but she's here in spirits. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. And you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and read it first, and then I'll make a drink when Nia does her update. So again, first, this was the top five. They interviewed some bartenders from like all over the different places, the U.S., Europe, etc. And there's five rums that these bartenders said were probably the best for rum.
Oh,
So the
that's
first,
awesome. Okay.
so the first one on the list is Plantation 3 stars. It's sells for 18 bucks. So like right around the $20 mark.
That's
It's
mad
82.
cheap.
It's crazy cheap, right? So this is plantation stuff, right? It's 82 proof. It's a blend of rums from Barbados and Trinidad and Jamaica. So got a great different places. And I've had this before, and I agree. It's for the price point, you can definitely replace, if you got just regular Bacardi white. is this is good. This is a really good. So I'm glad it's like, all right, I do know and I've had that. So plantation again, it's easy, it's everywhere. You can find it almost in every store. Also on the list was Florida Decana Extra Seco 4-year rum. So this is about again around the $20 mark, 23 bucks, 80 proof. It's a light bodied rum. It has a dry finish, and in addition, it has citrus notes and so it's really high recommended. It's got a vanilla note also that could round out that cocktail. So again, not here's so they're interviewing bartenders that are not really crazy breaking the bank kind of
Yeah,
uh
that, and you have to think about the fact that they are the cocksmiths that are mixing and making these cocktails. So I'm glad they picked their brain for
what
this stuff,
what
you know?
what word did you just use?
Cocksmiths is what I call bartenders.
Oh, okay. All right. I wasn't sure if you were talking to me specifically, but uh,
Well, you're gonna make a cocktail, who
that's
knows?
right. That's right. So yeah. So again, that's pretty. And again, it, I would assume nobody would be surprised that this would be on this list. It's something that here in the U.S. we have a very difficult time getting our hands on. You've got to go through very different ways and means to get your hands on this, but of course, you probably know what I'm going to say is the Havana 3-year-old rum.
Yeah,
Again, about 20
a
bucks. I guess
classic.
exactly. I mean, everyone talks about the Havana 3-year that light rum. So again, it's gonna be difficult here in the states, but noting that it's very a good comparison to it that the same bartenders in this list said, look, if you can't get your hands on Havana Club, they said, go with the plantation. So I mean, that's pretty good to say if they're saying that if you can't get the Cuban rum, go with the Barbados rum. Well, I mean, you know what I mean, but you know where plantations is from. But
Right.
so that's gonna say that's a nice little another nod for plantation.
Yeah, and I
So
feel like once you start asking bartenders that are from Europe, they immediately start giving stuff that unfortunately we cannot access.
right,
But it's always good to know because you never know who can smuggle that rum. So if you're
exactly.
out there and you can, sharing is caring, make sure you share those rare rums that you can smuggle.
Is that a bottle of rum in your pants? Or are you just happy to see me?
Yeah, literally.
So fourth on the list was Cappuccino Silver Rum. It's about 27 again. Still,
Ooh, that
things
one I've never heard of. Have you?
no, that's one I saw, looked at the bottle and I said, nope. Again, it's probably ones that are very hard to get
Yeah.
by here. I mean, especially for Florida too. But this is a blend of 2 to 5-year-old rums from Nicaragua and Trinidad and Tobago, and it's bottled in ex-bourbon casks.
Wow, that sounds really interesting though.
And it says it has some vanilla notes to it. So it's like that's really interesting. If it's been in a bourbon cask, it's been got some vanilla notes on it. It's 80 proof, so it's not too strong. But yeah, where's all these rums that we hear about, right? So, and then last on the list was Banks 5 Island Rum. It's about 30 bucks, 86 proof.
Okay.
It's made from a range of 3 to 5 years, and it's filtered and it's got a really beautiful floral flavoring with it, and yeah. So I mean, there's some stuff here that's we've never, like I said, some of these ones we haven't heard of. Again, the first three, of course, we've heard of them, right? Because they're
Yeah.
some of the bigger names, but never heard of this. What I found interesting about this list, and I don't know if it's just a testament of a couple things. Can you tell me what you think about this assessment? None of these are, and again, this probably someone's going to say, duh. None of these are, there's no American rums on here, right? I mean, I guess you could argue if if there was, Puerto Rican rum, maybe you can kind of maybe argue and say,
Well, yeah,
stretch.
Sean literally just said it in the chat. He's like, "Where the heck is Dunk Cool?"
Yeah. So again, these are cocktails or cocksmiths, uh, that are making. So but that goes to show you there's so much, right, Sean? There's so many cocktail, so many rums out there to choose
Yeah.
from. But that's what I've heard is if somebody's starting to rum and getting into rum business, startup, don't bother competing in the white rum and category because you'll get
Unless you
killed.
have something super super different.
Yeah,
If
right,
you have
right.
something different or like a blend, like the last one you talked about, that sounds really interesting. Um, Also, Privateer has, or Foursquare, sorry, they have Probitas. That
Mm.
one's really well known for daiquiris, and that one's a blend that not a lot of people know. But I'm excited to see what you picked to make your mojito tonight.
Oh, you put me on the spot now. So
I
you know
have
what?
to. What are
All
you
right.
picking?
So I've heard some, and I think I've asked this question before in
Yeah.
either the Rum Society Facebook group or somewhere, and I've actually had people say this is one that's you know is makes a really good goes for a really good daiquiri. I'm going to go with since we got nothing on the list here from U.S. or even
Oh, I
Florida.
love it.
I'm going to go with
Drum
Copper
roll.
Bottom. I'm going to go. Yeah, where's my drum roll sound effects here? So I'm going
Oh
to go with
yeah.
Copper Bottom Silver. So let me grab it off the shelf here.
Hell yeah! You
Yeah,
and
here we
I
go.
are
Hold on.
gonna agree on this one. I was literally about to say, guys, if you're not familiar with Copper Bottom, they are a local distillery out of Holy Hill, but basically, um, Daytona, Florida area. But they're an amazing distillery here in Florida that puts a superb silver rum. Right now, Paul is showing the bottle. And I actually was gonna tell you too that I actually use that myself for my mojitos. I don't buy Bacardi anything. No Bacardi Transparent or anything else. I buy Copper Bottom Silver for my mojitos.
Yep, 80 proof. Again, and they've got a good price point. Again, this is a craft, right? This is some small. I mean, again, this was in the batch. This was numbered batch. It's either 34 or 39. So, so again, shout out to those guys there. Jeremy and Jenny. They do their own little Friday morning live stream. So it's they're great together, husband and wife. Yeah, so definitely check it out. So that's what I'm going to go with here because we want to represent a little love for the USA, which I know they don't get a lot of respect for.
Especially for Florida, yeah.
Right, right. So, all right, so we're going to go through here and we're going to go ahead and make my mojito while you're doing your turn at what you got for rum.
Awesome. And I'll pour a little bit more of this rum that Jason the River Pirate 13 so kindly sent me. Oh, and I see a couple comments on the chat too, which is excellent. Sean said he uses the real McCoy or Probitas, which is I guess his favorite to make. Some mojitos. Phil saying Dorleys. I don't think we've made mojitos with Dorleys, Phil, but good. But I guess Underdog is saying that he did a mojito with a 10-1. That's really interesting too. I actually haven't got my hands on a bottle of 10-1 Underdog, unfortunately.
And I guess again, look, if you bought the bottle, like Eric K told me, I was making some crazy drink with his, this whatever it was, $80 bottle of Holmes Key rum that I made. He goes, you bought the bottle, you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. So
yeah, and I think yeah, and this is the funny part. I recently found that bottle of Mount Gay XO Peak Cask, and people were asking me if we were gonna open the bottle. I was like, oh no, in this household we open everything. Everything is gonna be, used in anything. It could be neat, it could be a cocktail, it's whatever the person prefers. Obviously that bottle was gonna be mainly Phil's, but when we went to Suffering Bastard up in Sanford, Florida, I asked the guy to make me a corn and oil, and I saw all the guys, they were cringing, and I'm like, it's just, I don't know, I don't really like that much peatiness in my rum, but I think with the corn and oil it's gonna go really good, and it actually did. It was like perfect. It was perfect. So as far as rum news, I have the newest news from West Indies Rum and Spirits Producer Association, which is known as WIRSPA. They just named the very first female chair, Margaret Montplaisir. If you're not familiar with her, she's been in the rum industry for 37 years, so she has quite the experience. And she is with St. Lucia Distilleries. If you're not familiar with who St. Lucia Distilleries is, they do Bounty Rum, and they also do Chairman's Reserve, which is honestly probably one of my top distilleries. One day hopefully we can make it to St. Lucia because I absolutely love all the Chairman Reserve, especially the Lost Casks are just the most amazing rums ever. But they're focusing on two big things that are gonna surprise you, which I actually wrote down because I was very, very surprised. Which is their main focus is to reduce excessive alcohol use as a whole. The Worstper's trying to do that, and the way they're doing that is by adding just little drawings or little depictions on their bottles. And if you're not familiar with Worspa, there's a lot of big distilleries in there, like Plantation. There's a couple distilleries from Jamaica, like Worthy Park, Money Musk. All those people are part of the Worspa. So they're putting all this additional information for the labeling. They also want to focus on the issues that they've been having with their supply chain, which is something that I talk a lot about and that I've experienced from talking with master blenders or distillers, that they have issues and they're trying to address this in the Worspa, which is supply chain issues with their molasses and their glasses, which I thought was very interesting because we have talked about that before. Is anybody familiar with the Worspa, or CARICOM too is another important organization in this rum community?
I'm sure some of the group here, people in the chat here, got to be familiar with it, right? I'm sure Sean is, right?
Yeah, Sean is also saying that there's another Maryland rum I've been looking for that's called Risky Rum. No, I haven't tried that one. But that's interesting. So tell us your recipe, Paul. You're using about what, an ounce and a half of that silver rum?
I free poured it, so it could be more, it could be less.
Ooh, I like it.
So
Rogue,
now,
as I call it, rogue pirate.
That's right. So what I have also, so when you make your mojitos, what I was told, and do you do this? Do you get your mint, and whether you buy it in the store or grow it or whatever? Again, I got this right from our garden here, and we've got a ton of mint. It's like crazy. But what I was told was, when you're making mojitos or what your mint is, you got to kind of lightly spank your mint.
Oh yeah.
And that kind of wakes up a little bit, the oils and things, and kind of releases more of the mint scent, flavors, etc. So I've thrown a couple of the sprigs in there, thrown a couple limes in there, got my ice in there, did a little muddling already. And I actually am going to do a little bit different here.
Okay.
Instead of my simple syrup, I'm going to actually put in a little bit of our orgeat syrup here. So we're going to do a little bit something different again.
That's interesting.
So we're going to go a little bit different, get a little almond flavor going on here rather than just
I like that though, because we usually make our mojitos with coconut milk.
Okay. I have to give that a try then.
It's really good, Paul. It's really, really good. And then sometimes we'll shift it up a little. Like we won't use we'll use like the mint, still the rum, and then we'll do like pineapple, like muddle the pineapple, or do yellow grapes or green grapes too. We've done that too.
Nope. Hopefully the club soda doesn't go shooting all over the place here. That would be bad. All over the
Just easy breezy. Easy like Sunday morning, Paul. Open that up.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Sean, we only do pirate pours here, obviously.
All right, so there we go. I'm going to give it a sip and see how it is.
How is it?
I think my club soda has lost a little fizz, so.
Oh no!
I'm really surprised. I almost don't even taste how much rum I put in there. So I think you guys keep me honest. I think I was pretty liberal on that pour, but man, it doesn't even taste that strong. So I don't know. I just got a good mix.
But you know what else it is, right? It's the quality of that freaking rum. That silver rum is smooth as hell.
You could definitely drink this neat and not even on any ice or anything like that for sure.
Yeah, even at 80 proof, it's like It's like magical. But cheers, Paul.
Cheers.
I'm so glad I saw you spanking your mint.
Don't tell anybody. That's why I had to. I'm just, if you spank your mint too much, you end up you go blind, and that's why I'm gonna wear glasses. So
And your palms get hairy. Sorry, wrong thing.
Yeah, well, no, I have to shave it often, so I got a lot of nair. So
No, but doesn't it scare you when you go to a bar that claims to be a rum bar and you see them throw the limes in there and the mint, and then you see them muddle everything? That's where I like cringe, and I know it's gonna be a shitty mojito night.
yeah, it's well, I know we got to get back to rum news here, but definitely shout out there. It's not necessarily a rum bar per se, but it was a great cocktail bar that what was it, No Man's Land.
Oh yeah, amazing.
So big shout out to those guys for sure.
Yeah, big shout out to Ali and Akbar at No Man's Land. If you ever go to Fort Lauderdale, they are an amazing bar in general. And it's actually a very cool ambiance because you feel like you're transported to like a speakeasy without the stuffy staff, because sometimes speakeasies, they get very like stuffy and I don't like it. But yeah, so what other news do you have, Paul?
So we've got other, do we want another list? Or actually, we'll even though I know I just made my drink and that's fine. I think something that we'll definitely want to make sure that we do want to talk about coming up here is coming up soon, within, I don't know how many days it is 15 days. I can't do my math, but and I know most of you that are listening that are rum enthusiasts know this day. You got it on the calendar how important this day is, but it's coming up. If you're not familiar,
Another
Black Tot Day. So Black Tot Day, right? So that is July 31st.
Okay.
Yep. So all that history goes back to when the Royal Navy, that was the last day that they were allowed to serve or receive their daily tot or their rations there on the ship as part of their being a good sailor. And obviously, they come to the realization that, do we want to give guys that are driving, or I don't know, I guess you don't drive a nuclear sub, but I think you know what I mean.
Yes.
It's like these guys
same.
driving the nuclear sub underwater there, and we're giving them alcohol. So again, I'm sure it became liability. Lawyers and things like that probably realized that this is a bad idea, and that's why they were lost there. So there was a whole big ceremony there. So I think in honor of Black Tot Day, I'd say we have some Black Tot. So what do you think?
Heck yeah, absolutely.
So I see you've got a box there. You've got so why don't you go ahead and show the camera there? I'll show mine too.
Yeah, so I actually have the kit that breaks down what is in the special edition Black Tot. We attended, it was the Master Blenders Tasting Pack.
Yep.
Sorry guys, wrong camera. But yeah, this was incredible. So I'm gonna do my little blend here so we can kind of try what it's like. And it was the Master Blenders Reserve. So they gave us this really cool kit, and you can see it here. And it basically broke down what marks are called. So if you look at this, it has a variety of different rums from different places. So like, for example, in these little samples, it says Guyana and Trinidad component or mark, right? And basically it says that out of all the rum blends, all the rums that are in this blend, 55.9% is a Guyana and Trinidad mark. So I'm gonna pour I think most of this, because obviously it says 55%. So I'm gonna do a pirate pour on this one. The other thing it says is the Jamaica and Barbados component or mark. It says 23% of the Master Blenders Reserve has 23% of this, so I'm gonna pour a little bit of this too. So what are we saying? We're celebrating Black Tot Day early?
we're pre-gaming for Black Tot Day.
Hell
That's
yeah, pre-gaming for Black Tot. And
right.
then it says, this one is the one that caught my eye the most because I had never, until we did this happy hour with the Florida Rum Society, I had never tried an Australian rum. But this one is an Australian component, and it says it has 6.7% of this, so I'm going to pour a little splash there.
You did, mate.
And then it has, let's see. Oh, okay. And then it has actually, which is a very interesting part about Black Tot, is that they always save a little bit of their previous release. So in this case, they saved a little bit of the 50th anniversary release and the last consignment and put 14.4% of this into this blend. Now, as you guys know, I usually don't like agitating my spirits too much anymore. Oh, look who's in the chat. Hi, Jason. Jason's in the chat.
Hey, Jason, how you doing? The River Pirate, yes.
Yeah, if you are not familiar with the River Pirate 13, he is also a fellow pirate and rum enthusiast. So definitely go subscribe to his channel. He does a lot of rum reviews, a lot of cool pirate events. And he's a big cruise person. So if you do like cruising, you definitely need to check out his videos.
I want to know.
I'm so glad he tuned in because I'm sampling. The shots I took were from the sample you sent me, the Sailbird Distillery, which is really good.
Cool. So, Nia, I want to. We should ask him. All the cruising that he does, has he ever like commandeered, or what's the right word? Took over, or whatever pirate term it is? Yeah. Is that the right word? Commandeered, or plundered, or pillaged, or something about the booty?
Jason, sure. you answer the question. Have you ever taken over the vessel that you were on?
Arr.
I know one time he told me a story that he asked the captain if he could fly his flag, and the captain actually let him fly his flag, like the River Pirate 13, on the vessel that he was on, which I thought was amazing.
That's freaking cool.
Right?
All right, we'll see. Let's see. Maybe we'll wait for him to respond there. He's making a cocktail there. So
yeah.
So I've got the box too, but what I've gotten, we'll definitely have to when we meet up again next time, is I had actually, after having Mitch, the global rum ambassador for Black Tot,
yeah,
right, I went and purchased the bottle of the Black Tot's finest there. That's there. So it's actually, so I'm gonna have a little bit of that.
Perfect.
I'm gonna still keep my little samples there.
Yeah. Boy. Well, like I said, I buy stuff and I acquire stuff to be drank, so I'm down to very few of this sample, but I hope it'll be worth it.
So I will confess, I actually still have some bottles here that I have not opened yet. I have trying to decide of whether or not, as you all know, that I have not done reviews. I don't want to say don't, but I haven't done reviews, but I think I might actually start doing some reviews and getting into the game as well. So we'll see. I do have, like I said, I've got a Claren bottle that you and Jason were there when I bought that bottle in St. Augustine at Boat Drinks.
Yeah.
Chris Twiggs brought me back a bottle of Montagna rum there. I've got it on the shelf again. So I know it's terrible. Okay, I know you may unfriend me now because I'm admitting.
No. We're rum friends for life, of course.
As long as I share, right?
Yeah. Share, or there's a lot of rum to be had, so I get it. I have a lot of bottles. You would be surprised if you saw my cabinet of all the rums that I'm still yet to review.
Oh, okay. So Jason says he pillaged, plundered, and went on the high seas.
So yes.
So well, here's the cheers here to Black Tot Day. Was
yes.
A sad day of losing the daily top there that ended in
Yeah, their daily
1970.
rations of rum.
Yep.
Well, cheers, everybody.
Ooh. Ooh. All right, now that definitely warmed up my chesticles. Ooh.
It's so good, though.
Oh, it's so yeah.
It's so
Right.
good.
It's
This
heat,
is so
but it's
good.
smooth. Right. That's my poor name. Heat and smooth.
Oh, Sean is saying that every palate is different, Paul, for the reviews. And I agree, Sean. That's why I always tell people to not be discouraged when they're experiencing spirits, because what most of the distilleries put on their bottles is just to guide us, is just to give us a basic. And even if you know the char level and the type of cask that the spirit has been aged in, you can automatically have very common ground notes. But I always tell people that's why I love rum and experimenting with spirits so much, because it's everybody's perspective on what the spirit smells like or tastes like. So yeah, definitely. If you're gonna do reviews, I'm excited to hear your perspective on stuff too.
Yep. Yep. So no, that's a fair point, Sean. I agree, and that's kind of why I probably held off. Doing reviews. Maybe I just like drinking. More than. But no, that's a fair point. So yeah, well, like I said, we'll never know. So if you ever come and visit me, we'll definitely. I said we've got a couple bottles we need them. So let us know when you're coming down to Florida. I'm sure eventually you'll be putting Disney World on your sites. With the kids and so forth. So, all right. So, well, that was our a little bit of the some of the news there that I had there, Nia. So, yeah, again, Royal Black Tot Day. There it is. So
So
what you
now
got?
let's move on to new releases, Paul, or do you have any other news that you wanted to cover today?
No, I think we've I think I've hit some pretty good stuff there. I think there's some good parts. Um, I'd say let's just kind of go right into it then.
Awesome. So I'm gonna start with a banger. Have you guys heard of the $1 million rum bottle coming out from Dictador? Yes, 1 million 24 karat rum bottle. Which, by the way, if you're not familiar with Dictador or Dictador, it's a Colombian rum company that's very well known for basically putting out very unique releases. They're very into arts and culture, so thus far they've done a lot of collaborations with a lot of artists, and this one is a very unique collab with M City, who's a Polish large stencil artist, who's M City. So the actual bottle is called M City Golden Edition Rum Bottle. Isn't that insane? $1.5 million.
So when you say it, Mia, you gotta say it. $1 million.
Yeah, and put my pinky like this, right?
Yes.
1.5 million. Yeah, it's ridiculous, right? Yeah, so just so everybody knows, the actual bottle is made of gold. There's no actual rum in there, but it's by invitation only. So sorry, Paul, we're not gonna get any of those invitations, I'm assuming.
How do you know that I didn't get one and I just didn't tell you?
Oh shoot, okay, you're right. I know you're about that MVP lifestyle now, right?
Oh, that's
Who
right.
knows?
That's right. Palm Beach, baby. Oh boy.
So
Maybe I need
with
to
this,
talk. Maybe I gotta talk somebody in there from last night, maybe to buy it, and so we can try it there.
oh
It's like
yeah, yeah,
it's like
some of those
friend,
medical people, hell yeah.
oh yeah, it's like boats. It's better to have a friend with a boat, not to own the boat. So that's it. We just
Yes,
need to
agreed,
own.
agreed,
Okay.
agreed. But the interesting thing is, it doesn't come with a rum. It's just the bottle, and then you're flown to Colombia to create your own blend in the distillery Dictador. Again, it's by invitation only. But the most surprising thing is that this entire collection of these bottles, they're guesstimating that it's gonna bring $1 billion to Dictador, which is insane.
So how many bottles is that? I don't know. I can't do the math right now. I've been drinking rum.
Me neither. I don't do math. Yeah, so that's my one release I want to talk about, which is very, very interesting. But we'll talk about the trends in premiumization, right, Paul, in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The other release I wanted to talk about is Captain Morgan Black Spiced. Now, if you want to know what specific spices, and I already know Nani's gonna be out of it because she hates cinnamon. This one has cloves, cinnamon, and cassia, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought cassia was cinnamon, but like a different version of it. So like they're doubling down on the cinnamon, if that makes any sense.
She's doubling defeated.
Like doubling down, like putting extra cinnamon. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nani. One time we looked at the ingredients and we said, what is cassia? And someone in the chat put, oh, that's another word for cinnamon. But yeah, are you into spiced rums, Paul?
Yeah, I don't mind it. You know, I again hate to admit again sometimes if I've gotten off of drinking beer. I'm going to tell you, I'm taking the long way to give you an answer here. You know, I've kind of stopped, you know, being the primary adult beverage of choice for some, you know, some specific, you know, not get into health reasons, but so of course I pick up something else and, you know, it ends up being spirits. So I hate to, you know, admit it, even though as much as we kind of, you know, people shit on Captain Morgan, even though we're just talking about Captain Morgan, but you know, there is, because they've got the great simple marketing, people it rolls off the tongue. So yes, a lot of times I will drink a Captain and Coke just because.
Yeah, you know, what's interesting, and a lot of people don't know, and we were having this conversation the other day, is that in a regular bar situation, if you were to pick between Captain, Sailor, and Kraken, if you looked at the sugar quantity per gram, Captain Morgan is going to be your best bet out of those three.
I was surprised when you said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see.
Yeah, apparently Sailor Jerry's and Kraken has like something ridiculous. Like they're in the 40s, 30s, I believe, grams per liter. Phil, can you correct me? Hi Dan, thank you for joining us.
So I saw Nani did the math for us.
Yeah, she said it's about 700 bottles.
Oh. See, look, she's chipping in here, and she's not.
I love it. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. So $700, $700 bottles at $1.5 million a bottle. That's crazy. And then the last release that I wanted to talk about, the River Pirate is saying Captain Morgan has 5 mLs added sugar per liter, right? So that's not bad at all. My understanding is that Sailor Jerry and Kraken is in the 30s and 40s per liter. So when you think about 5 milliliters, well, what is that in grams? I don't know. A lot of math tonight with the wrong people that don't do math.
Metric is hard.
I know. And then the last release I wanted to talk about is Blackpool, which is apparently a rum that has chocolate in it. I think it's the first of its kind, although I know Jami has reviewed Deadhead, if I'm not mistaken, and that one's like a chocolate rum. This one, they're claiming that it's not a chocolate liqueur, but what I found very interesting is that they won 4 out of 3 awards during the World Drinks Awards, and it's only $24, 24 pounds for a bottle. And the funny story, it's 2 friends that basically during the pandemic, they had a mobile pizza delivery service, and then all of a sudden the pandy hit and they had to stop working, and they were home drinking a lot of rum like most of us were. Give me a little thumbs up if that was you, because that was definitely me. I don't know if that was you, Paul. Yeah, see, the thumbs up. I know Phil and I were plundering some rum like crazy. But these two guys were doing the same thing, and apparently it took them 6 years to perfect this recipe of rum and chocolate. So, man, I know I'm excited to try this.
What do you think? Have you looked to see if it's available?
Of course, it's a UK brand, so no, I don't think I've seen it here, but definitely interested in tasting it. Oh, Phil is saying that the Kraken has 25 grams per liter.
All right.
That's a lot.
You drink that, you're almost going to be like on crack.
Yeah, like diabetes. And then another release I wanted to talk about is Eminente, which I'm super excited to find and try. So it's a Cuban-inspired rum that has been introduced, wait till you hear this, into Trinidad and Tobago to try to compete with, in my opinion, some of the best rum producers, which is really ballsy of Moet and Hennessy, which is a conglomerate that is putting out this rum. But the really interesting thing is they hired Cesar Marti, who's the youngest Cuban master in Cuba, and they basically hired him to blend and make this Cuban rum. So it's Cuban inspired, which is really interesting. So I'd love to get the bottle. They call it the Isle of Crocodile or the Isle of Alligator. If you look at the bottle, it's gorgeous. It has like scales like an alligator. So that's definitely something I would love to add to my collection. Plus I am a big fan of Cuban rum, so I'm definitely gonna be on the hunt for that. And then my last one, and I promise this is my last one, but which is really interesting because I actually got a sample. We got a sample, Nani and I, when we went to the Hukilau. We got samples from Don Q. There you are, Sean. This is where Don Q appears. But they came out with Don Q Naranja, which is orange. And what they're saying is that they use their aged rum and then they infuse natural ingredients. So in this case, they infuse orange in this one. So super excited to try this. And then I'll let you go through with your interesting releases, and then I'll let you know what I think of this. I know I sent one of these to somebody that was watching the Hukilau recap. If you can chime in what you thought. Sean, was it you that I sent you the sample of this? I can't remember if it was you or Greg, so sorry.
I'm not sure. Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab some water. I'll be right back. Paul, do you want to cover your releases?
Sure. Yeah. So we're talking here again. I'm gonna cover 2 releases here, and then I'm gonna talk about another list here in a second. So we're gonna go through a couple of these releases again. Probably some of them, again, unfortunately, we just can't get our hands on. But it just kind of got announced, just recently that Havana Club creates limited edition 11-year-old rum. So they just made an announcement. So maybe there's an opportunity here because,
well, but wait, I have really good news on that one, Paul. Very good news. That is a collab with the Whiskey Exchange, and it is available to be delivered in the U.S. The bottle is.
How's that possible?
I don't know.
Okay.
I actually went to the website today and tried to order one, and then saw the money in my account and said, "So sorry, I'm too broke. I can't do this."
Okay. I hope now I'm like kind of hesitant to actually say how much it is. So that means how little. But yeah, so they have this 11-year-old rum, as Nia said, their Whiskey Exchange, which is great. So we'll definitely have to check that out. That it's hit there, and but only 2,400 bottles are being made and available, And again, it's only selling for
Paul,
about
you
90.
can say how much it is because it's actually quite accessible for a,
Yeah.
what is it, a 10-year-old Cuban rum?
Yeah, so 90, so here it says it's $98 US dollars. So that's
Oh, okay.
so a little pricey, again, what is some of the stuff that we talk about, we'll talk about here shortly about the premiumization and rums. But I think again if you are a collector and you want to try it, or again, I'm not going to shell $1.5 million and share that bottle with anybody, right? Let alone
Yeah.
even if I win the Powerball. That's right. That's the well, all
Yes.
right. If I win the Powerball, Nia, I will buy
We're,
you a bottle. There you go.
Thank you, Paul.
You
Yes,
heard
we got 1
you heard
billion on the
one.
Powerball.
That's right. That's right. So you heard it here first.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. We gotta win that, just so we can get this $1.5 million rum. That's it.
That's right.
That's the only
That's right.
reason.
That's right. And then we'll have, just like a boat owner, we'll have a whole lot of rum friends showing up to our house, right?
Yeah, for sure. I love it. Rum friends are the best friends. So what can I
That's right.
say?
So yeah, so they're creating this 11-year-old, and obviously you've drawn on the knowledge of, the Whiskey Exchange vision to bring that to life. So it's really great. They've been able to bring something to the market that, again, the rest of the world can get their hands on very easily. But now it's great that they've got the opportunity. I'm surprised. I'm not quite sure how they've been able to pull this off to be able to get it allowed to be I guess they're buying it from here and then I don't know. I don't get that part. But anyway, so I think that's really cool. Again, it's sitting at 50% ABV. So it's got a little bit of punch. It's gone through some aging in American oak barrels, which is kind of, again, the whole Cuban American, history is kind of, interesting in that sense, right?
Yeah.
And as well and has been bottled from the barrel without water dilution to retain its distinct qualities and exceptional flavor.
So guys, you're getting a barrel proof Cuban rum from Havana Club at $98 a bottle. That's like unheard of.
Yeah. So again, there's as they're part of and owned by Pernod Richard family, Ricard family, and so it's good that I know I'm not a big fan sometimes of these big companies that end up controlling a lot of the industry because they've been all gobbled up by the bigger companies like a Bacardi or
Yeah.
Diageo and things like that. But kind of cool to be able to have it. See, so I guess we'll see what happens. We'll check to see if anyone wants to take a shot, or in the chat there, jump over to the Whiskey Exchange to see if you can actually, if it's still available for purchase though. So that is one. That's our first one there. We want to talk about the Havana Club. And this is interesting here. This is Santa Teresa. I know a lot of folks know that name as well. It launches Ron Bicentenario, a jewel of the art of aging. So this is a interesting, release for them. If you're not familiar, again, they're based in Venezuela.
And an amazing company, Paul. I don't know if you know their history, but they do a lot for the Venezuelan community. They actually created a full rugby league for prisoners in Venezuela, and it's an amazing company. Absolutely love their rum, love all the community efforts that they do.
So yeah, I didn't know that. I don't know a whole lot about them. I know there's a lot of obviously their process, the Solera process. That's probably I haven't gone deep diving into Santa Teresa, but yeah, this is a company of more than 2 centuries, right? They had a unique creation of choice aged rums from different raw materials and without long mature period of in there, and then the process that blends it all together, obviously with their knowledge and how they do that to produce something that's is represents their essence and legacy of their brand. So so that's again another one. I think it's gonna be really interesting how they come out. And again, this is part of the I think, well, again, we're going to lead into this a little bit discussion about the premiumization and a couple of the other things in the rum news that we were looking at. But
yeah, absolutely. And just so everybody knows, Bicentenario means that it's a 50-year-old. It's like a 50th anniversary release. Because Centenario is 100 years, like 100-year release. And Bicentenario is 50-year release. So they're doing, for the first time ever, their 50-year release, which is amazing, which means we need to scoop up this bottle. And if you have not seen pictures of this, it actually comes in a very cool box that opens up. So definitely check that out. The River Pirate 13 is agreeing with me. He's saying that the 1796 is one of his favorites, one of my favorites too. He's also giving us a really cool fun fact, not rum related, but he's saying that the Cuban crocodile grows to 11 feet long and lives in the freshwater swamps in southern Cuba. This crocodile is known for being about to leap from the ground, critically endangered. Oh my god, that's so sad.
Wow. I did not know that. I guess,
Me neither.
Jason, it's bad enough we live in Florida. Everybody says there's everything. People shouldn't move to Florida because it's like there's so many things that can kill you in Florida. Sharks and snakes and anacondas and Florida man. There's all sorts of Casey Anthony.
For sure.
All
Casey Anthony.
So Florida's a dangerous place. Don't move here, people. Okay.
But wait, what was that female serial killer? Eileen Wuornos?
Yeah, Eileen Wuornos.
She's from Florida too. So yes, everything and everybody can kill you here.
We're gonna get so off topic here, but did you ever see the movie? Did you ever see the movie about her?
Yes, with Charlize Theron.
Yeah, it's like, come on,
amazing performance.
They look nothing alike. Let's put a hot Charlize Theron into Anyway, we're not gonna go there. Anyway, so in conclusion here, this release is the result of a perfect combination of tradition, like I said, and the experience and devotion, and and again, it celebrates the history, like Nia said. This great company do a lot of these things, and again, that's probably why it's that top 5 list of mojito rums to use is why American rum's probably not on there. Again, they haven't American rums. Some have been around for a while, right? Don't get me wrong. I do know that, but some of them don't get the respect. Maybe again, you're all the Caribbean rums that have been in for so much longer than really many of the rums here. I know the New England
and I think it's like specifically with our favorite Copper Bottom. I don't think they get that in Europe, so they don't know.
Yeah, right. True, right. And again, there's so many rums that are probably available, and again, smaller companies like this. And that's why I love talking mostly to some of these craft distillers on the podcast.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So definitely, and if you're not familiar with the Drums and Rums podcast, it's available all over the place there. We talk to a lot of different, especially the owner, Jeremy, Craig, the owner, head distiller at Copper Bottom, was our first rum guest when we were starting out back in 2020. So definitely check it out. And they actually just released, so Nia, I hopefully get my hands soon. They just released a 6-year bottle. It's like part of their barrel that they had from day one. So I don't know, Jason.
That's amazing. That's so exciting.
So Jason, did you stop by and try and grab yourself one of those bottles? Because I know you live a little closer to the Daytona area.
Yeah, he's definitely closer than we are.
So all right, so that's that. But I have here one more list here. I'm going to give you guys, and then we're going to get into our little conversation here on our Rumonomics, I think is what we were calling it. But here we go.
Yeah, it's our new segment, Rum and Economics. So Paul and I are going to discuss the new business side of rum, so we're all up to date. But I want to give a huge shout out to Sean. He did confirm that he did receive the sample of Donku Orange. By the way, this is amazing, Paul. This orange, he said that to him it tasted like an orange creamsicle. I agree, but it's not as sweet as you would imagine a creamsicle to be, is my...
So this is Don Q Orange?
Yes, Don Q. By the way, I've tried their Donku passion fruit, and it's one of my favorite flavored rums. Besides like the coffee stuff, but like on the more subdued white or transparent, their passion fruit is amazing. I don't know if anybody has tried that, but yeah, so this is really good.
So I have obviously you could probably see from the bottle, I haven't had a whole lot from it. I have actually, this bottle has been opened. It is a Don Q double aged vermouth cask.
Oh yes, I've heard that's an award-winning bottle, Paul. We actually had that. I don't know if it was last Rum News with Nani or the Rum News before, but we had that on the, like, it was an award-winning rum, the finished in vermouth casks.
it's interesting because maybe that's why I haven't had a whole lot of it. It's maybe I've got to give it another try, but I wasn't. It wasn't. Yep. To Sean's point, wasn't really striking my palate. So, um, but yeah, maybe I'll have to give it another try in the. I don't remember if I tried it in a cocktail or just neat or
Yeah,
something
and
out of it.
remember your palate evolves. So the more rums you taste, it'll be more adapt to more like if you start like for me, my palate has changed because I've been tasting really hot bourbons and really peaty scotches with Phil and his friends because they're not big rum fans. Um, so now when I approach higher proof rums, it makes it so much easier for me.
Okay. So, yeah.
So
So
with
that's
a
interesting.
bottle like that, definitely give it another go. Also, when things oxidize, they kind of change. So definitely give it another try and maybe bring it down next time we hang out and I'll help you with it. I'll take over the team.
Oh no, for sure. No, as much as you shared with me, definitely that's you do not have to twist my arm on that. So you're definitely is Nia is definitely the best rum friend. So I would say definitely give her some applause on that there.
Thanks, Paul.
Uh, so yes. So here's a list that you probably would not have thought that we were going to throw at you here. I'm sure
Yeah.
you have heard some of these names, but hey, why not? 7 Indian rums for your bar. How about that? Put that in your pipe and smoked it, right?
I
So,
can't wait. I'm so excited because I recently tried my very first rum that's on this list. So,
so as you know, you hear Indian rum, right? And I've again the owner Karen from Montana. She talked about, that this is where she was younger and she was in India, or I think she said she was in India. But anyway, she had the first rum that she had was Old Monk. And again, most people will think, you think of India or rum, it's Old Monk, right? But so obviously there's a lot of changed over the years, and they came out with this list here, and this is kind of interesting because in this list, they talk a lot about rums you may not have heard of, but what shows up on this list is crazy, right? So, um, on this list is Pitbull Rum, a RS 800, Mumbai and Poon, Short Story White Rum, and we got RS 1950,
okay.
and I got a name that just is probably have heard of already. This has been mentioned before tonight. Plantation 3 stars. And then you've got, so there's these rums that are on here. Again, some of them are, you know again, we've just mentioned again. So here Plantation 3 stars shows up again on another list that's talking about Indian rum. Now again, we know Plantations, is in
Worldwide.
right. So, um but again, this is a story that they're about putting your rum in your for that location. But yeah, so some of that is in here where uh it's just kind of crazy there. Pitbull is a formerly an Alco Bev industry professional. Calpesh, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce names here.
Yeah,
They
don't.
so again, they saw there was a gap in market, and then they wanted, and it was that a gap in market for rum that was more premium than Old Monk, but still much affordable. So this is where they developed and created Pitbull as their attempt to fill that gap. The rum is made in Aurangabad with sugarcane molasses, blended with barrel aged spirits, and it has no added sugar. So Pitbull rum. So it's not the Pitbull the rapper here, Mr. 305. It's not his rum. I'm sure you probably could pitch it that way, and people would probably believe you, right? Because people are stupid.
Possibly.
Yeah. So again, here's another one. This is kind of a cool name, Rock Paper Rum. That's awesome. We should do it. That's Nia. That's a new game. You guys, you got to play Rock
Rock,
Paper.
paper, rum.
That's right. So again, if you
Not rock,
do,
paper, scissors. Rock, paper, rum.
yeah. So rock would be no wait. Hold on. How would that work then? Yeah, we'll have to figure it out. So yeah, don't steal our ideas, damn it. So yes, we're gonna new rum game here. We're gonna play
I
Rock Paper
love
Rum.
it. I love it.
So, but yeah, that's another rum here that just kind of came out in small batch.
Wait, Paul, I thought they also had Kamikara.
That's right. Yeah, I'm kind of just skipping around a little bit. So
Oh,
yeah,
shoot, sorry. I
yeah.
was going to
All
give
right.
my 2 cents on that one because I
Yeah,
recently tried that one.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, go ahead there. So I guess it's the first became the first Indian rum to bag a gold at the International Wine and Spirits Competition. So yeah, so kudos to those guys. So yeah, so where how did you get your hands on it?
So very lucky. I went to, once again, huge shout out to No Man's Land. Ellie was there from No Man's Land, and she had a bottle of Kemikara, and she's like, "Have you ever tried Indian rum?" And I was like, "No." And then she brought the bottle out. Amazing rum, very unique. It has this white peppery and minty note that I can't even explain it. You just have to go. I'm sure Primo's is about to sell their bottles too. One of my favorite distilleries down here in South Florida. They have a lot of very rare rums. And the other great thing is that it was very oaky. So you did get the sense of the cask that it was aged in, which was a beautiful, beautiful palate. I was very impressed. I loved it. I don't think I posted pictures on Instagram, but I'll try to post them tonight. So make sure you check out my new IG, myrumdiaries channel, because I'll post it on there. But the bottle had a lot of information, which was great. But amazing rum. Very impressed, by the way.
That's yeah, that's again, that's crazy is to think that an Indian rums made it here in the U.S., but yet there's other rums that are out there that again, I guess the right marketing, the right distribution, the right connections, and
Yeah.
and or somebody who's in some level that they tried it somewhere and they were able to like it so much they wanted to kind of really effort to bring it back here and probably capitalize on obviously the U.S. market there. So, but yeah, no, I'll have to. That's cool. I didn't have to keep an eye next to what it looks like. We got to go back to No Man's Land then, I guess.
For
So
sure, yeah. And Nani's saying that when she comes back, we should go to Tiki Tuesday because they do focus on tiki cocktails on Tuesdays, which is really interesting. And they have a happy hour every single day because I went there Saturday. They have happy hour from 5 to 7. Also, just since we're jumping in the chat, want to give a huge shout out to the guys from Just Drinking. They're tuning in tonight. If you have not heard of Roger and Robert, they also review rum. Very funny, cool channel. Definitely check them out. They do reviews and the live on Wednesdays. They're also part of the Rum Posse, and we've met them a couple of times at rum events. So very excited. Huge shout out also to the Rough Spirits, who's also tuning in. He also reviews a little bit of everything, but really, really good high proof spirits. Thank you so much for tuning in, Rough Spirits. Appreciate you. Megan's saying that she would love to try that vermouth one. I feel you.
okay. Do I have to? Am I dropping my address in the chat here?
I guess we can do like a little meetup, Rum Posse meetup.
On the side of the road.
Yeah, on the side of the road.
Rest stop
Rob-
rum party.
Yeah, Robert is saying that he thinks rum would beat it all in the rock paper rum. I agree. That's what I was gonna say. I was like, rum is always gonna beat. So.
Well, it's not like Big Bang Theory was paper,
scissors, lizard.
lizard. Yeah.
Don't judge me.
Spock is one of them, right?
Yeah, Spock is too.
Yeah.
Spock, lizard. Yes.
Yeah. So there's just a couple more here, and Segredo Aldea. It's another one on the list here. It is available in white and coffee forward Swedish cafe variant.
That's
interesting.
That's crazy. That's very exciting.
I know you like
coming up.
I know you like your coffee rum, so
I do.
Maybe you can make a quick stop when if you're going to go on that trip, possibly, right, to the other side of the world. Maybe I don't know if hopefully I didn't spill any beans there, but.
Oh, to Australia, you said? No, we're going the other way. We're going via Los Angeles. Yeah, sorry. One day India for sure, though. I would love to visit because I've heard there's a lot of sugarcane over there.
We talked about Short Store. I mentioned those guys too, and they've got different rums. So it's being blended with molasses rum with 3 different rums from the Caribbean, a high ester Jamaican rum, cask aged Dominican, and a Trinidadian rum. So this is cool. Is that all this creativity, all these different things that are not just here again on the western part of the country, the world here, or even in the northern hemisphere or
Yeah.
whatever. All it's just it's all over, right? And as we all most know, our history of rum, that whole part of that again, a lot of this is the sugar cane is all around all very abundant around the equator, right? And yeah, we sometimes maybe forget there's other places in this world besides the Caribbean and South America that are along the equator. Obviously, India is being one of them too. So a lot of history there with Indian ties to rum as well too. So yeah, so there's yeah, so we'll definitely all of our stories here. I'm sure Nia you'll post them or links or whatever for people to follow up and maybe dive a little further into it if anyone's interested in some things that we've been chatting here tonight. So definitely
Yeah, I'll
sounds good.
put all the links down below of all the articles. But do you want to move forward with rumonomics? Let's talk a little bit of economics and rum.
Yep.
So,
So
we read a couple of articles and definitely wanted to bring this up to discussion, especially get everybody's input. But before we do that, let's go back to the chat a little bit. I do see here that Rough Spirits gave me, Ready Set Rum, and you kudos for being his favorite rum channels. Thank you so much, Rough Spirits. That means so much. We so appreciate you. Oh, go ahead. Hit it again, Paul. Hit it again.
yeah, there we go. Oh.
It's a little bit muted since we're connected through the wonderful app or the wonderful platform Zoom.
And I like that this is great. Is again we're all supporting each other. There is people are following each other, subscribing to each other that are meeting new for the first time here tonight, which is awesome. So I know that I don't some new names that I'm not familiar with. So thank you for definitely hanging out with us tonight. And so yeah, so excellent. That would be really cool.
Yeah,
That,
Dan is saying that he got a bottle of Wild Tiger Special Reserve from India. That sounds really
Wow.
interesting. At the Canadian border, that's exciting. He's like, oh, was a total bottle design purchase. LOL. Have not tried it yet. I feel you. I'm a label whore, as I call myself. If I see a very cool label, probably gonna scoop it up if it's for the right price. So don't feel bad, Dan. You and I are on the same page.
So yeah, I totally see Nia. I totally forgot about it here. So I'll have to sit in the picture there. So
Wait, you have the same bottle as Dan does?
yes, and that's exactly why.
What?
That's exactly why I bought it.
Check
And
it out, Dan. Check it out. Paul has your same bottle, man.
so it is definitely the same reasons what you just said is why I bought that bottle, right? Actually it looks like they could sell it at Disney World because it looks like Tigger,
It looks
So
like Tigger.
so there's a little tooth on here, that they probably pulled from the tiger,
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that, Paul.
I'm just joking. Yeah, I say that while there's bottles on here about supporting the wildlife and things like that. I'm just
That's
joking.
so funny. Oh,
But yeah.
Jami just tuned in. Shout out to
Oh.
Jami. Thanks for tuning in. Jami from Ready Set Rum is in the chat.
So Nia, it's funny that Jami just joined because when I bought this bottle, and again I was in Tampa, and we talked about it, you got to go to some of these little sketchy liquor stores because
Yeah, of course, always.
the little nuggets that you find, and that's where I
Yeah.
found this in Tampa by close to USF, and I text a picture to Jami. He says, "I bet you don't have this bottle." Right, and he's texting me back the bottle. I'm like, what shit don't you not have?
Oh, I found a couple
Oh.
well, we got him the Ronga Rechavala from Spain.
That's right. Yes,
We got
That's
him
right.
that bottle, so
that is true. So, yeah. So I don't know. Sorry, we went off a little track. I do actually, Nia. I do have also the Old Monk in the other room too. So I do. I guess I didn't realize I have more Indian rums than I thought of. So
Man, Paul, you're keeping all these secrets and not
I know.
sharing.
well, you guys got to come and hang out here.
I know, we do. We gotta hang out.
You can't just do a drive. You guys can do a drive by, and that's it. So.
But it was a good drive-by because we dropped off and picked up some rum. So it was a good.
Yeah. Jami says, I love it. It smells like perfume.
Oh, like a good perfume or like White Diamond's perfume. I don't know.
I
Like
don't
a
know.
bad pharmacy. I don't know. You gotta be
I don't know.
specific, Johnny.
I said Wild Tiger. I don't know. Is that the perfume to kind of pick up the ladies, Johnny? Is that what it was? Rub a little bit of rum
Like
behind
Black
your.
Panther from Anchorman, where he
That's
puts it
right.
and he's like, "This is the most amazing and potent cologne," and then he's walking by and the ladies are like, "It smells like Sasquatch's balls."
It works 80% of the time, all the time.
Oh my god, guys. Oh my god. We've been waiting for probably over a month. Jami just dropped a bomb on the chat. He found the Appleton Estate legend. I am so excited. Yay, Jami!
Look at that.
Holy crap. Jami's
this-
like, I'm just gonna tune in real quick, drop this bomb, drop this mic, and be out.
No, he tuned in. He tuned in to tell us, "Hey, you guys owe me money."
Yeah, that too. He's like,
So,
prep yourself, guys. Prep yourself. You owe me money.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, maybe we might have to do I think we talked about this, a collab tasting session here. So.
Yeah, for sure. That would be awesome. If we can. If not, no big deal. I know all our schedules are crazy. But speaking of going back to Rumonomics, I definitely wanted to address a couple of things that we saw in a couple of articles that I think would be an interesting discussion. They are talking about the future of rum. So they are saying that rum is having basically a new renaissance based on the fact that there is a lot of rum diversity. There is also still a big lack of regulations on worldwide as far as like rum is concerned, which also allows for the diversity. They also emphasize a lot of premiumization. So do you want to talk about that specifically? Because I think that's a huge topic, especially with all these $1.5 million bottles coming up, like the Appleton Estate Legend release and all these incredible bottles that we can see that are top dollar.
Sure, and again, I think we were talking about this Rumonomics here, where we did a little bit of point counterpoint, a little discussion, and then again asked the chat here to kind of chime in and on their points of view, and or some of kind of our kind of challenge our point of view on it. So I would say for somebody who has been, I'll start off this. So for somebody who's been in the not as long as I'm sure a lot of folks in the chat or others in the rum space, rum enthusiasm, if you want to call it, as far as deep diving, probably where I've started the journey and obviously the podcast and so forth. So I'll preface there. I'll pause now.
Yeah.
I was not also was never really as enthused into any other spirit other than rum in my whole life of nearly so many age. But the premiumization, I think, is great. Look, and as you all know, if those listen to podcasts, you probably can pick up now that that I tend to really focus on the guest, the business owner, the distiller, the brand, the product, and so I think again, I try to focus a little bit more on what their perspective of the business side of things.
Right.
With that being said, now, I get, look, we live in a country that we're all trying to make money, right? That's what it's all about when you're in business, right? That's what Nia and we're trying to do. We want to make a little something from this endeavor that we're doing, but, we do enjoy it, but yeah. So, we would like to turn it into a business and do something, sure. So with all that prefacing here, now, again, I've not been a bourbon drinker. I have drank it, but I think what I'm concerned about some of the premiumization is rum turning into bourbon world when it comes to some of that same thing where it's created such a demand or a certain level of expensive bourbons and things that are out of people's reach or over. I'll give you a good example, like Blanton. Is it I'm sure you guys know more than I do, Nia, you and Philip, about Blanton's, because he's more of a bourbon guy, right? Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yes.
so there's And I'm sure it was not easy to find, right? Because it's from what I hear, it's always very
We
difficult to get you.
actually got lucky and we got this on the vault, so
Okay,
yeah.
so
We
so
paid
mo-
MSRP, luckily. Yeah, but yeah, I know exactly where you're going.
so I think we create this again. I do want to see businesses get their fair share of their product, and if they want to price it out there for people, then you know what? Yeah, some people are not going to be able to afford a $1.5 million bottle of rum or a $100 bottle of Havana Club. So I'm not a big fan of that aspect. I'm a fan of it maybe for the right reasons and not the wrong reasons, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does. I definitely agree. The only thing that I do like about where this trend is going is the fact that these distillers are also realizing that consumers are getting pickier and they want to know what's in their bottle. And if it's more heavily regulated in some kind of sense, people are going to pay more money for that because they know exactly what is in their bottle. So I also get the business side of things because, you know, you also have to tailor to what people are wanting. And right now, based on the articles that we read, RTDs are gonna start like plateauing.
Hmm.
Yes, it's been great. They've been having like this surge, blah blah blah. But now they're gonna start plateauing, and premiumization of rums is gonna start growing because people are gonna be more conscious about their money. And based on what I read, is they're gonna spend more money on the bottle that they know what's in it versus spending a ton of money on cheap bottles that they don't know what's in it. Basically.
I totally agree, right? And again, you hate to see things kind of get priced out
Yeah.
uh, of people that may not have money, and maybe the argument could be. And again, I love to hear some of the chats here. So here you go. So um, we're talking about more. I'm not sure. Okay, so yeah. So all right. So here's as Philip had mentioned. Yeah, Blanton's is $60, worth 60. Wouldn't pay any more. So
Yeah,
I
it's
again,
not. And it's
right. So
ridiculous. You find a bottle of Blanton's for over $200. I would never pay over MSRP.
but see, here's the crazy thing: because it became so hyped, somehow
Yeah.
the right movie, the right thing got
And I
it.
think it's also scarcity. It's like the basics of economics, demand and supply. If demand is high and supply is low, the price is going to be high, right?
Right,
So
right.
that's the thing with these bottles. There's low supply and high demand, so the price is going to be jacked up. But like we get lucky and we get invitations from ABC because, we're a bunch of drunks and we're always ordering stuff from there. So
Right,
when
right.
we get the invites, I try to look for rums. Unfortunately, ABC does not carry rums in the vault, but they carry Blantons, and I do enjoy Blantons, especially for smoking cigars. It's probably one of my favorites.
I know. Philip, I agree. Also, I do agree. And hopefully, maybe I didn't mean, or maybe I'm saying something totally two different things here. Is I do agree with the standard, right? Um, as we all know, through the education, those who are not gone further down the rabbit hole of standard, with rum, putting some standards around it is, it's almost it's like the cow's out of the barn. Trying to put the cow back in the barn in this rum world is very difficult because there's such a perception, and there's going to probably I don't know how long it'll take, Philip, where rum will get to that same level of bourbon, and some people don't get it, right? They say, well, Scotch has a certain set of rules, Champagne has a certain set of rules, Bourbon has a certain set of rules, right? And that's that. Read something though, similarly, rum and gin are kind of got this little resurgence together. You see so much gin now,
Yeah.
so so it's odd that you're like, when did gin come? It's usually old fogies that are drinking gin, right? No offense to
Yeah, for sure.
the but yeah, so no, I agree with you, Phil. I do agree on that part. Standards I think are important and transparency. Um,
But again, Phil is also one of those rum snobs, let's be honest. He wants to know what's in it. He'll do the research. He'll find out exactly how many sugar, and that's fine. But that's what I also love rum because you can be as picky as you want and look for those rum brands that do tailor to those kinds of people, or you have rum brands that are still very flexible and like they'll add sugar on the back end, but I think for my perspective is I just need people to disclose it. Like, be honest about what's in your bottle. If you
Hmm.
do add 2, 10, 30, 40 grams per sugar, just let us know so we can, as educated consumers, because unfortunately those are the things that give rum a bad name. Because every time, especially us enthusiasts that we love rum, we always encounter that perception with people in the Gen Pop where you're like, oh, I drink rum. They're like, oh, rum, drink, it gives me headaches. It's like, okay, but what kind of rum are you drinking? Because most of the times when it's something that gives you a headache, it's going to be something that has a lot of sugar, right? Oh, in the chat, they're also saying rough spirits. Yeah, that's ridiculous. The grams of sugar, I don't even want to think about it. But for example, Rough Spirits is saying that he'd love if there was more rum single barrel. I totally agree. He's saying Total Wine is killing it lately. I agree. Let me tell you, I was shopping for that Mount Gay XOP rum for like 2 years and I couldn't find it at a reasonable price. And I got lucky, went to Total Wine in West Palm Beach and found it, bought it for Phil. He's as happy as shit. So yeah, Total Wine definitely, we've been shopping a lot there more than ABC. Also, the River Pirate is saying, sounds like echoes of Bill McCoy of the Prohibition days. Everyone will want the real McCoy.
So
Ru-
I think again, yeah, there's a lot of great points, and I appreciate you guys, kind of adding your thoughts here on that. And again, we all do come from a different space and world. Again, for me, not coming from the bourbon world, I guess, uh, I have a different perspective in it. I think everyone, I think we all do agree. But you know what? It's going to come to that point that look. I think at the end of the day, like I said again, I think for me, I look at these things and I don't know if this disqualifies me as an enthusiast, but I kind of look at it from that perspective of how it's being sold to the general population. Look, every business, every person distills. Sure, they're comfortable with whatever they're making, right? Copper Bottom is a small craft distillery in Holly Hill, Florida. They are comfortable with their size. They make an honest living. They make an honest rate.
yeah,
Would they love to? Look, everybody will wish they had more money, but sometimes more money, more problems, right?
yeah,
But then it comes to that point where the average person to try to expand further to the reach, they are not going to be able to try better quality spirits because, to you guys' point, it's a catch-22. I feel because you're going to have much higher prices for that rum. And you know what? The average person who may okay drinking rum is still going to drink this shit rum that's probably not going to be transparent or not going to be the best quality, and you're going to continue the same stereotypes of rum. That's my thoughts. Agree, disagree. We'll definitely share a tot with me, and then we'll definitely discuss further on that one. So you know, So, but you're right, Philip. Is that some of these and rough spirits? Yeah, some of these guys are going to their prices are just going to start driving up because the demand is going to have again supply and demand, right? So,
yeah. And I think to me, especially with the independent bottlers, it's to me it's a little bit of I don't know, murky waters to me personally, because it's people bottling stuff that I don't understand why the distillery doesn't see the possibility of them basically just doing that on their own. I still don't get it. I get the importance of having independent bottlers or master blenders that come up with their own stuff because it creates even more diversity in the rum. But I also don't agree, especially lately, like the Homeskeeps bottles are getting astronomical, man. He's gone from like his bottles being under $100 to like the latest Barbados and Fiji release. I think they were over $200, which is astronomical for a bottle. So I don't know.
Yep.
It's an interesting perspective. But the other thing that I found interesting in our Romanomics is that the fact that there's apparently a trend very big in the millennium population where they're kind of pushing the no to low alcohol products, and that has actually had the biggest growth. And by next year, it's going to be an $11 billion industry,
Wow.
which is insane. But apparently, with the changes in health and wellness and mental health, millennials seem to be pushing more no and low alcohol things, which is very, very interesting. What are your thoughts, Paul?
I, that is interesting, right? Being somebody who's not a millennial, being a Gen Xer, it's interesting. I see it from a couple things, right? Is I remember this one time bartending in a small restaurant, and lady comes up to the bar and sits there with a kid, and again, it wasn't a bar, but it was a restaurant that had a bar in it. And she ordered something, and she said, saw the menu, and it said non-alcoholic, and she ordered a Duels, and this was for her kid. And I said, she can't have that. She said, well, it's non-alcoholic. I says, it has a small percentage of alcohol in it. So, so right there, even though the person, again, this was probably at least over 20 years ago, didn't realize that Duels is still, even though see, there's a great point. Such
Yeah,
confusion, and it's marketed as non-alcoholic because it's probably the percentage is probably whatever the limit they're allowed to call it
yeah,
that. But I know Heineken's come out with a lot of zero, no alcohol, alcohol in their that one of the beers that they have, they market and some of the so forth. It's interesting, I guess as you get older, you always look at the youngsters and what they're trying to change the world or improve things better than what their parents I'm not quite sure. I don't know what's the point of drinking a product that has been typically a alcohol related company or product, and then now I'm just drinking something from them that's why not just drink, we know soda and Coca-Cola and those things aren't really great for you anyway too, but
yeah.
just drink water then, right? I mean, uh, I don't know. I don't see, but apparently, uh, if there's a market and there's a need and desire, like I said again, supply and demand, build
Yeah.
it and they come, right? If somebody wants to
Well,
buy a product, right? Yeah.
I'm sure you're familiar with Isabel from the Tampa Bay Rum Society.
Yep.
She actually she works with a company called Zero Alternative or something like that, and they have a bottle that's supposed to replace your craving for rum, or basically you replace that instead of drinking rum. So I'm definitely gonna hit up Isabel for one of those bottles, and then we can give you a true testament of what this rum replacement is. But um people
But
are
again,
getting really crazy with what they put in these bottles, especially with rum. I'm sure it could technically be molasses based. You get that sweetness of the rum.
mm,
Maybe you add some spices, some herbal properties. Who knows? But it'll be interesting to see.
well, look, as depending on what type, I'm sure you've made rum cakes, right? And I'm sure depending on how, and knowing you probably have a heavy hand at pour, right?
Paul, I do a lot of things, but baking is not my forte.
All right. Well, if for those that make rum cakes or
Yeah,
some baking good or food with rum in it, or really for matter any alcohol, we all
yeah,
know it's baked out or again it's not like you're gonna get drunk right now. Depends on how some strong rum cakes. Yeah, I'm sure. Uh, I don't know. I think I don't get it. I guess I'm not on the I'm not for spiritless spirits. There you go.
yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Now, moving on to the next thing that they talked about in these articles, which I thought was very interesting as well, is they're saying that with the growth of economic concerns, obviously, we all see it out there, a potential market crash, all this, you know, we even see it on our daily basis. Like when we go to buy stuff is so much more expensive. They're saying that at home drinking is going to become a bigger thing. So basically e-commerce is going to grow again because it had the largest growth in its history in 2020, obviously because of COVID, right? We're all going through the pandy, nobody's going out, everybody's like stuck at home. Believe it or not, e-commerce had a 40% growth, which makes sense. And then obviously in the past 3 years it's dipped, but they're saying that as the economic concerns grow, it's gonna revert back to kind of like pandemic times where people are staying at home and enjoying drinking at home more, which is really interesting. Are you turning to drinking at home? I feel like I am.
I agree. I agree with that. You know, for obviously for many reasons. You know, the pandemic. I've always joked that the pandemic actually also created alcoholics too, right? Again, one person's gain is another's whatever. So yeah, liquor sales went through the roof because look, most people just felt like they were caged in their house and they couldn't do anything, and this is all they could do, right?
Yeah.
So, again, for me, my job, my day job, I still went to the office. So I was not a work from home person cooped up in the house. But again, talking to folks during that first year and during the pandemic, during the podcast there, talking to guests in India and Germany, asking people around, other guests around the world, what's the pandemic like in your country?
Yeah.
We didn't have it that bad here in the U.S.
We did not. No, it was very loose.
Right. So, I think with more people, obviously a lot of folks here that are in the chat that have enjoy, their home bar, have your to make more cocktails on your own and, have a call it a, hobby or something to do and trying to make your own drinks. I agree with that. Well, shit, I mean, if you're buying $200 bottles of Home Ski, then yeah, you don't have a whole lot of money to actually go out, right? So
well, I'm not buying those bottles, Paul. I don't know if you're buying those bottles. This girl is not buying those $200 bottles of Home Ski.
Yeah, I read in the chat somewhere Philip said he was buying the bottles for you.
Oh hell no! He's bought bottles of Home Ski, but they were not that expensive at all. This was pre-Home Ski like blowing up, because obviously now he's blowing up.
I love it. He says, "Do I drink more from home? My empty keg of Guinness says yes."
I know he's gotten fancy, and now he's like, he decided to split his tower. He's getting all these tanks that mix their gas. So he basically wants a mini Guinness brewery in our house. He wants to make our house like a mini Guinness brewery for some reason. But Rough Spirit is talking about something that a lot of people don't know, and I know, and I'm a very big fan of, is Texas rum. Man, it's such an underrated spirit. And he's talking about Round Mountain rum. He's saying that he's tried the Texas 28 Reserve Age. He said it's amazing. Texas rum. Jason is saying that he misses the 17th and 18th century where he didn't have to worry about alcohol content of his rum. Phil is talking about HYE. Yeah, funny.
All those were 150 or more.
Oh, these were 150 or more?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shoot. Okay, so...
Wow.
So this was not me, but Phil is saying that these bottles that he got were 150 or more. This is the Belize 2008. We have the Belize 2008. We have the Belize 2006.
So where did you guys get that Belize bottle from?
I'm not sure. Phil's the one that... I didn't know these were that much. I thought they were like 70 to 90. And then we have the Fiji 2004. But Phil, you were saying that you wanted me to show an extra special bottle tonight. What extra special bottle did you want me to... He gets so excited. He wants to take out all the rums and then I have to organize them. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. This one we haven't opened yet. This is wax.
We have another one that's open.
Yeah, but basically, this is States rum, but it was a special release for the Rummeliers when we went to Barbados. So Plantation basically made these specific bottles for us, which was really, really cool. So it was only gifted to the Rummeliers that went to Barbados, which was really cool. And my favorite part is that it even says the distillation type and the type of column still that they used, which was John Doerr. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, Phil, but it's one of these stills that they basically grabbed from like the 60s or 70s and fixed it up, and now it runs in West Indies Rum Distillery, which is amazing. And obviously we have a signature from Alexander Gabriel, who's the master blender, Don, and then Henderson Skinner. But yeah, but look at this. There's a lot of sediment there, so it's not filtered at all, but excellent bottle. This is the very special bottle that I'm showing you guys tonight. And then, can anybody guess what's the growth for rum in 2023?
Drum roll, please.
Can anybody guess? And by the way, for these figures, they're including standard rum, agricole rum, Navy strength, overproof, black, and premium rums. Can anybody guess? Tell me.
So is that the choices, Nia? To pick
No,
from?
those are not the choices. I'm just letting you know what they're including in this growth number for 2023.
Okay,
3.8. Rough Spirits is guessing 3.8. How about the amount? Is it
Dollars.
4 million? Not percentage, guys. Money. Money talks. Money talks.
And bourbon walks.
Okay, I'm gonna say it. In the year 2023, so this year, rum has grown to a $14.35 billion industry. Isn't that insane?
So if people are looking to get into it, is it too late, or is it still a chance to get in it? You'd still have to say there's a chance to get into rum and make money.
I think so, if you create something unique, right? So let's say, for example, you just said there's no room for like white or transparent rums, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
When I spoke to Toby from One Drop Rum, or previously known as or his new release, which is One Drop Rum, he was saying that he started with a 10-year age rum, but his investors were saying that in order for him to like diversify the portfolio of his rums, he needed to come up with a white rum as well. So that was an interesting perspective to me, because he thought it was oversaturated, but they said, no, we need to come out with a white rum as part of the, to have a diverse portfolio. And the same thing you see with Pedro Mandinga.
Mm-hmm.
You saw her rum. They make excellent, that white rum, when you taste it amongst the variety of white or transparent rums, you can tell the difference of that rum. So I think, yes, you can come out with a rum that's transparent or aged or whatever, but I feel like for it to be a hit, it has to be something different. I think that's why like these independent bottlers are especially with Holmes Key, you can see they have an amazing product line. Like, let's be honest, I know Jason's like, oh, I tried Holmes Key, it wasn't my cup of tea. Yes, you didn't like it. I personally do like Holmes Key, and it's an excellent, pretty consistent product line, and I love the stuff that he picks out, but it's also to a point, because I also like, that's a lot of money for a bottle.
So your comment about the white rum. So yeah, maybe I should have. I agree with you, right? And then maybe what should have probably clarified was, or been clear was,
Yeah.
if you were solely coming into getting into, again, everyone loves the sitting on the beach and they have an idea and want to go make rum, right?
Yeah.
If that's your sole entry point into the business,
Right.
that's not smart, right? Now, to your point, you're right. And Copper Bottom, there as well, right? They produce silver. They have some barrel, they have aged stuff, wine port, again, you've got some of the bottles. So it's one of and they do with vodka as well, just because they can and because they've got to at least still sell something, right? While they're aging others' products or rums in the barrels. So you still got to do something. So I agree with you, right? You could come out with a white rum, or to Toby's point is you got to have something that's at least on out there to complement your little bit more higher end rum that you're also going to offer too. So
Well,
again, I
that
think
and also like you gotta get in the bars, man. Let's be honest.
yeah,
That's the reality of things. You gotta get in the bars. The bartenders have to love you. They have to make cocktails. The word spreads because let's be honest, like people are getting more and more strict with what they're choosing to spend their money on because of these times and the economic struggles we're all dealing with. So I feel like when you go to a bar, I don't know about you, but when I go to a bar and I'm like, hey, I always start, what rums do you have on the rack?
Right.
Which is
Right.
what, and I go from there deciding what I pick to mix. Like I'll do like a rum and ginger ale, or I'll order a cocktail, but I'll order with a specific rum that I want.
Mhm. Right. So here's a thought is, as we said, with the economy, there's a lot of, with more people staying at home, spending, your dollars, you're going to stretch that dollar again. We're going through a different kind of, as you mentioned, phase similar to
Yeah.
the pandemic. Again, one of these articles we were talking about premiumization, as a comment, the title there says premiumization driven by a broader base of mass affluent consumers. Okay. That's meaning that basically people that have money, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Spend. So as we already mentioned, so it's interesting that if that's going to happen, where more at home drinking continues to increase, that's going to, again, as I've I'm a very big proponent or understanding of this, to educate is, obviously since the music background of my show is, you close pandemic, you close a bar, you close a restaurant, that means there's no alcohol sales going on, right? Does that mean that impacts not only the restaurant, but now your liquor companies and so forth and other suppliers?
Right.
They close the restaurant if they have music, and now your musician's out of work because they have no place to play, right? So there's a symbiotic cycle of venues, alcohol, and music. And if more drinking at home happens, hell, that's why we have such big screen TVs and sit at home now. We don't go to the movie theaters anymore, right? That's kind of what's very similar.
Well, and let's be honest, Paul. You go to the movie theater, yeah, the movie tickets might be cheap, but then you order some popcorn and a Coke, and it's like I might as well have gone to happy hour for these prices.
See, hey Nia, when you get to my age, you'll be happy to be able to use the senior discount. Okay, so you got a few more years.
I always go at like 11 and 1, which is like, what is that called, the matinee hour or something, and tickets are like $10. There's no discounts on popcorn or drinks.
Oh, I know. That's why you got to smuggle your shit in. Come on, I thought you knew better. But
I'm
back
not
to
on that level yet. I need to learn from you. I need to learn your ways. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy.
But just think about this, and I want you guys in the chat to kind of think about this too, right?
Yeah.
Maybe those of us that do content here that are in the chat and listening, just hear me out on this, because I do occasionally will watch other YouTubers and content creators that are not obviously drum related or rum related. There's one that, and Rough Spirits, or Philip, maybe because again you guys got a little bit of bourbon experience. It's one called I think it's called Mash and Drum, right? So obviously this guy's got a huge following, and I think again it makes sense. You guys know this. this huge bourbon market. So this guy streams live. He's got a lot of viewers and so forth. Why am I saying that? Is because of what we just said there about more people drinking at home will probably be more interested. Again, you got to think about this in the economic sense of, again, as you know, talk to many different companies, smaller brands. They're trying to get their foot in the door. Love Doc Brown to death. Really bad rum, super
Yeah.
crazy guy. He's hustling it there, right? He ain't no spring chicken. He's out there hustling it, right? Yeah, somebody makes his own, makes his product for him, but he owns the brand. So what is he? Where's he trying to get into? Liquor stores? He's trying to get into restaurants? And so different, you know, spirit companies go after certain different, pools to go into, right? Is it the
Yeah.
bar, or is it the restaurants, or is it,
Or is
you
it
know,
back to
any
like
liquor
pandemic
stores?
times where you're
Yeah.
doing virtual happy hours?
Right. So, with that being said, again, hear me out, and this is maybe something again. I think the Rum Posse, kind of collaborates even further. Is these are maybe opportunities for us to build this online community of the same thing that the dude that does the mash and drum does, where he's got spirits, he's trying different bourbons, he's got different samples, he's talking through, he's doing tastings and so forth.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way that the rum companies have to do a different look at approaches. If they're available online to buy, then that means they can be sold anywhere, like the Havana Club you talked about tonight. So I know that was all over the place there, but I do think I agree.
No, I get what
Yeah.
you're saying, but Dan brings in also a very important point, is that he's saying that he wish all states would loosen their regulations to allow shipping and receiving. I guess he's in Wisconsin, and he's like, in Wisconsin it's hit or miss as far as approved shipping, and it gets really frustrated. And I'm like, yes, I completely agree. I wish we could all have the same rum playing plate. Rum Spirits is also saying that we might have to come up with a rum packing mule network. Hey, I always tell people, hit me up. You want samples? I'll send them to you. Or as Jami said a little bit further down, Rough Spirits, actually, he's like, I'll send you beard oil or olive oil. I'm like, I would totally do it too.
Yes, it's olive oil in this bottle.
Yeah, for sure.
When they ask you at the post office, is there anything in here? So, Chris, I'd rather buy a good bottle of rum for home use than going out for a couple of overpriced bad drinks. Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Again, just like we were talking about quality of rum, right? You're going to go to some bars that. What are you going to that bar for, or that location? Are you going there for the drinks? Are you going there for the music? Are you going there because it's cool or cheap? Or you go to this place?
I personally
No?
feel like my money is best used in an experience. So like, it has to be the ambience, the bartenders, the cocktails, like it's the experience in general. Like, the food has to be good. That's why, like, I'm really hyping up No Man's Land, but that was our latest experience that was amazing. It was great. Like, I don't want to go to a place just for the drinks. Yeah, the drinks are great, but if the service sucks, like, I'm gonna stay there for a drink or two and then leave. But if it's an amazing experience where, there's no issues with parking, the venue itself is gorgeous, and like, I don't know, they have different things. I don't know. That's my feeling as well. That's also, I feel like, why drinking at home is so much fun too, because you're comfortable. You can put whatever music you want. You can make the cocktail the way you want it. You can use the spirits that you want, especially for us that we have a shit ton of different spirits. Like, we can literally make anything at home. So
You don't need to wear pants.
you don't need to wear pants, yes.
So we got Nani's admitting here. So as your legal advisor, Nani, I would maybe remove that comment there. I already smuggled some of my brother throughout the country, and I said she's the rum runner. So
Yeah. She's definitely one of us, for sure.
yeah. So rough spirits. Yeah. Let's talk about that. I think I like your idea there. I think there's definitely an opportunity. Again, this the idea. I have a feeling that we need to formally introduce or accept Rough Spirits into the Rum Posse formally. Because I think again, I think there's a lot of good opportunity for us to collab. And
yeah, for sure, I love it.
Barrel picks, working with some of them again. I think, again, we all grow together. And again, I hate to beat it overhead. I'm all about that. We're all about that. All of us are all about that. Is we all grow together and to, support each other to grow, to help each other out. So definitely, especially like that live stream last night is hopefully, some of the people that were there, opportunities open up, and that I want to take everybody along with me, right? There's a whole, as I think somebody said, Rum TV or something like that. So
yeah, for sure.
So, team, all right. Hashtag team no pants. Nani, how much you drinking, man? She might be keeping up like she's normal. She's in there in person, I think.
Yeah. She's probably doing shots with us, so don't.
Nani, I don't know.
She's with us in spirit and in rum.
I normally don't wear pants, Nani, but that's only because I'm Scottish, so I don't wear.
So you wear something else.
I wear something.
But yeah, Rough Spirits, your Discord, that's a really good point. Rough Spirits is on Discord. I would love to get in on that too. So send me the link to your Discord. That'd be awesome. Sorry, I'm just pouring myself away.
No, so now just real quick here. I think that as we were talking about, we'll kind of maybe wrap up the Rumonomics here. Again, they're talking about the 8 drivers of change for beverage alcohol in 2023. As we talked a little bit about it was.
Yeah, so talk to us about that.
Yep. So again, one we already talked about, the premiumization driven by mass affluent consumers. Again, I say this notable shift was in the during a pandemic where millennials, we said millennials led the global consumption bounce back in 2022, right? Again, they're the groups that are going out to drink, right? Again, we're most of us, I don't know how old everyone is. I know I'm not in that group to go out every weekend to go out and hang out and party, but
we're young at heart, Paul. That's all that matters. That's what's right. Here. It's what's here.
I'm very immature. Yes. Number 2 is China's risk profile evolves as the U.S. and India are positioned for strong spirits growth. Now, basically what they're talking about here is China's, as a communist country, is kind of really ratcheting down on
alcohol consumption. Yeah.
Right. So, hey, we get it, that's why, as much as we live in one of the best countries in the world, we can also have the power to, that's why sometimes we have no guardrails. Talk about freedom, but yet sometimes we don't know some of our limits. I'm not saying that we should go prohibition or, down, but again, we have only ourselves to blame for that kind of stuff. 3, pockets of growth for beer across select markets there. So
that was very interesting.
Yeah, so beer is also well positioned to grow in a number of Southeast Asian markets. So, but I just kind of dawned on me about the previous one about the China, part there in the previous one was, it's interesting, right? I'm sorry, I'm mixing up Japan, right? Japan, they've started producing their own scotch or their version of it, and some really
they have a lot of whiskey.
Right, Hibiki I know is a big one, and people say this is better. This is some really good scotch, but it's not made in Scotland, right? So how can you call it scotch? But so it's interesting that some of the places there. I don't know, right? River Pirate is. I think you talked about Prohibition already tonight, where
he did.
You start shutting down those people in China, man. They're gonna have a reaction to that. You start prohibiting them from drinking. Then they not learn. People don't learn from history, right? Learn from us. Prohibition didn't work, so and you're gonna get a lot of pissed off people because they can't drink and do other fun things.
People become very innovative somehow. They'll figure out how to smuggle rum. And yes, Rough Spirits, I'll take you up. Next time Nani is not going to be here and she's going to be traveling because she's living her best life, I'll definitely have you as a co-host for sure. Yes. Oh my god, James Chang is on the chat. James, you haven't messaged me. You won the sample of the Rum Rats rum, which I literally have waiting here for you. You have to message me your address so I can mail it to you, buddy. Come on.
If you don't do it now, she's going to drink it tonight.
Or I'm going to give it away to somebody else because I still have mine. I mean, yes, olive oil. I need to send you your sample of olive oil. Or beard oil.
Yeah, there you go, beard oil. So here's one. Here's one, Nia. Is sparkling wine spurs growth for the overall wine category? Obviously, how booming prosecco is, right, or champagne growth. So it's crazy, right? Pent up demand for celebrate weddings, holiday gathering. Again, everyone's breaking free like they're on a, virgin on a prom night.
It's all those rum videos. It's all those rapper videos that are they're like promoting sparkling wine.
That's right.
Or champagne. It's whatever it is.
So champagne growth is centered in the U.S. and Australia, and light aperitifs are growing in Spain thanks to growing daytime consumption. We should drink during the day, man. That should be a normal thing. Number 5, premiumization again drives growth of the RTD category. Nia already talked about that, and so there's huge. Again, we live in Florida. It's very convenient if you're on the beach or the boat or whatever, just grabbing a cocktail in a can. It isn't great. Probably stuff as we're talking about here that we're spending in our home bar, but sometimes it's very convenient to enjoy a cocktail that is not a beer, right?
Yeah.
So RTDs, there's a good couple friends of ours here on the shows here, whether it's oh my God, I'm drawing a blank,
Coco Rum.
Coco Rum.
If you have not tried Coco Rum, our friend Mark is the owner, and it's an excellent. They know exactly where they source their rum from. It's not too sweet. It's perfectly carbonated, so definitely check them out. Yeah, day drinking, man. Rough Spirits is on our level too. We love day drinking. Yes, James, you won the sample of the Rum Rats Panamanian rum. So email me, DM me, however you want to contact me. Send me your address so I can send you your olive oil, beard oil, whatever you want to call it. So congrats. No, and thank you for supporting, because obviously you subscribe to my channel. If you have not subscribed to my channel, subscribe, because you're automatically entered for the giveaways that I have. As many as I try to do. Usually I do one at least once a quarter, but as a subscriber, you're automatically entered. So thank you so much for the support, James. Cheers.
See, Nia's much nicer than I am. She gives away her, and that's why she's the best rum friend, right? So I don't. That's maybe that's what I should start. I've got my vanilla, right? So I made some vanilla with different rums. E-commerce growth moderates. That's another one. So again, we're talking about e-commerce selling. Whether it's like we talked about the whiskey exchange. So yeah, I mean, hell, if we can buy on Prime Day all the crap and bullshit we don't really need on Prime Day, from an app on our phone, why can't we just buy more booze, right? Which, again, I think it could be very dangerous, because we'll never leave the house because we were drinking so much in our house, and we can't even find the door to get outside, So who knows actually what will happen there? But and then finally, as we just talked about that there, home premise grows even stronger, driven by economic concerns there, right? Nia's already talked about that as home bars and sitting at home drinking and their streaming services, and why bother leave our little nice nest to go out into the real world, and who the hell knows what's going to happen.
Unless you're going to sweet happy hour like we're going to do when Nani comes back. We'll have to meet up with her and finally get us 3 in the same room, as we always say. There's always one musketeer missing, huh?
Oh boy. So those are some of the things. Again, I know as consumers, look, we want good products at a fair price. I don't want to say cheap price, but at a fair price, I think is I think reasonable to say for most of us, right? Hey, look, our dollars are just as, hard-earned dollars to choose what we want to purchase and buy, and it's great, Nia and I know Jason Jami does it well, River Pyre also definitely want to recognize, we have this little community here. We share some of our own with our friends, right? So it's great to have this group and community to give an opportunity to try things that we may not have our hands on before. And again, my biggest shout out there is obviously Nia, that goes back almost 2 years when we talked about the Ron Altrabala rum in the bottle it was only available in Spain, and just talk about luck have it and the opportunity that they and I guess I could talk about it now, because It's not. He's no longer works there. He's retired. Well, um, so I have the company I work for actually has he was pretty high up in the company. He just retired. Actually, an Archibald that worked for the company.
Oh shoot! Oh, that's
The
your connection then.
Well, kind of, right. So when I had interviewed, obviously, one of the relatives, obviously, Anton, a couple of years ago on the podcast, to learn about the history of the Archibald family. I was very nervous about talking to him, obviously being that I have a work connection here that he doesn't know, and I know the work connection doesn't know. I'm talking to this guy, and
Yeah.
again, I didn't want to kind of also mess up my day job, right? Because that's where I'm making
Yeah.
money.
Of
So,
course. Yeah, I get
but
it.
now that he's retired, yeah. So this person that used to work in the company, has retired. So I'm not too concerned about it. But again, it's an interesting story, yeah. So, but yeah, obviously the bottle of the opportunity to get hands on a the Ron Archibald, which is you can't get it here in the U.S. obviously. So.
And if you're not familiar with the Arechavala family, they're the original owners of Havana Club that were exiled or left Cuba because of all the situation in Cuba, and they left to Spain. So if you have not subscribed to Paul's channel as well, Paul has his own channel, it's Drums and Rums. He has an incredible interview with
Nia from my Rum Diaries.
descendant. Well, yeah, me. But you also have a great interview with him, with the guy from Arechavala. He's like the descendant of the family that created Havana Club in Cuba, and I know there's a lot of history, and they claim that they sold the recipe to Bacardi. Let me tell you, if you try Havana Club from Cuba and you try Bacardi, it is not the same. I'm sorry, it is not the same. I don't know what recipe they sold them, but it's not the same. Paul, I've smuggled some Havana beard oil and olive oil, and you can tell that it's not the same, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's yeah, I don't know. I agree. I don't know what recipe. Maybe they're just holding out on one particular ingredient. But yeah, if you do a taste testing, and even right, Nia is, like the story, Anton's story. I won't give away too much, obviously.
Yeah. Because you need to watch that episode on Paul's channel.
They approached, they were the family or the remain, the descendants, of who fled, went to Don Pancho and asked, hey, we want you to work on this develop a new rum for to recognize, their patriarch, that started all that. So, yeah, it's a great, interesting story. He was I think, very transparent on the conversation, about some of the things that maybe they didn't do right, or, to continue their
history, man. Like,
oh, yeah.
after seeing that episode with him, it made me want to go to Cuba even more, because they've done what Plantation or West Indies Rum Distillery has done, but on the Cuban rum side of things. They have a library with all the original pictures of the plantation, because obviously they were single estate, but they have all the books, everything there at the Havana Club Distillery, which is amazing. I would love to go to Cuba. They have some incredible rums there too.
I would say, Nia, and again, to not kind of continue belaboring it here, to kind of keep moving forward, but all of that, and this is the big part, is, that, listen, I love is, again, this community we have, and especially,
I love it too.
Nia's wearing her shirt there tonight.
Yeah!
I'm wearing my Drums and Rum shirt. Yeah, that is an alum shirt. Again, that started from day one I've had somebody on the podcast. I sent them a shirt. Again, I'm not making any money on this venture yet, but again, I always still felt like it was an important thing for an alum. And one of the alums was this guy Christopher. He's in Germany. He's a German. And again, same thing, like Nia said, the history. He went down the rabbit hole on Havana Club, had collected so much information and built a website.
And bottles. He's the largest recognized Havana Club bottle collector. Yeah, it's insane.
a guy in Germany, right? So go. But again, as we
Yeah, go
know,
figure. A German guy collecting Havana Club rum would never think of that, right?
right? Yeah, but we know Europe consumes a lot of rum, so so it makes sense, right? So yeah, but no,
Yeah.
it's definitely cool. So again, Nia, I don't know, what do we got left to cover?
That's it. Just thank you
Yeah.
so much for you being my co-host today. Nani's enjoying her trip in Massachusetts, or massive huge tits as some people call it. Definitely bring me back some rum, Nani. That's the only excuse and the only reason why you're not here is because you're, being a rum runner and bringing me back some rum. But thank you so much, Paul, again. If you're not subscribed to his channel, check out Drums and Rums. He has some amazing drummers. I'm an air drummer, so that's our connection as well. I'm an air drummer. But amazing interviews with distillers. Like, one of the few channels that actually brings on distillers, or he goes to distilleries and checks out the distilleries here in the US, which is incredible. And thank you so much for everybody for tuning in. I'm so excited to do the next Rum News Live. Thank you so much. Huge shout out to all the Rum Posse that tuned in tonight. This is, I think, the first time that they've tuned in, everybody. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Nia, for having me on. And yep, thanks everybody. And
yeah,
again,
cheers everybody. Chris, hit us up if you come down to South Florida. We would love to take you around to our favorite spots. And Nani, get your ass back. Just kidding. Paul did amazing. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers,
Drink
guys.
the rum. Cheers, cheers, cheers.